Welcome to Better Man. My name is Gabe, and today's video is all about prioritizing your masculine purpose above all else and the importance of setting boundaries. Better Man is a channel all about helping young men along the roads of their self-improvement journey. If you haven't subscribed, please give me a subscribe. I am dedicated to providing valuable content to not only improve the lives of men out there, but also reflect and improve myself at the same time. So today's video is all about prioritizing your purpose as a man over everything else. Now, I've been reading this book called The Way of the Superior Man. Have it right here. Highly recommend it. And I was re-listening to it recently, and one of the really major themes throughout the book is the importance of prioritizing your purpose over everything. And this book talks a lot about relationships between men and women. So that's an example they use, prioritizing your purpose over a woman, right? And that's something that to some may be extremely obvious, to others might be kind of off-putting. What? I thought you're supposed to prioritize your woman over everything. And the example they give in the book that really stood out to me is the example of a soldier going to war. And his woman is weeping. She's looking at him and saying, "I don't want you to go. I'm going to miss you." All these things. And he looks at her and he says, "I don't want to go either, but I must. It's my duty." And then she looks at him. She says, I know you must." And then she just weeps and holds him and ultimately lets him go. And that is a really powerful scene because we can really visualize that. We see how, every fiber of both of their beings, they want to be together, but they know ultimately that the man has to fulfill his duty and follow his purpose, which is, in this case, going to serve his country. Now, think of the inverse, right? Think of a situation where the woman goes, "I don't want you to go." And the man goes, "Yeah, you know what? I won't go. I'll just stay here for you." Initially, the woman might feel excited, happy, whatever, but ultimately she will resent her man because her man forego his purpose. Something that is supposed to be greater than himself, greater than anything else in his life. He forego his purpose for her, and she will ultimately resent him and see him as a weak man because of that. So that is really a clear example of how that applies to relationships between men and women, but this applies to anything in life, right? When we have our purpose, we need to prioritize that over everything, and that includes our values. So if we have certain values or character traits that we think are extremely important to us, we shouldn't compromise those. You can think of like a relationship with a friend where a friend's like, "Dude, come on, let's go out drinking." And maybe you made a vow to yourself, "I'm not drinking for this month." Setting the boundary of saying no and accepting that, all right, this guy might give you some shit. He might be mad, whatever. But ultimately, if you have made a decision to do something, you owe that to yourself over everything else. So for the young men out there who they might not have a distinct purpose yet, they might not know my purpose is X, to build this business, to become a therapist, whatever their purpose is. If you don't know, there's still these micro purposes that we have, and that might be the self-improvement journey that you're on right now. Everyone who's really embedded in this community is extremely aware that in self-improvement, we have the ability to steer the direction of our own lives with the decisions that we make, right? Everybody who's born, we have different levels in life that we start at. Some people have more privilege, some people have less privilege. It's true, it's not an even playing field, but there's nothing we can do about that. All that we can do is take what we've got and just try to make the most of it. So that's the beautiful thing about everyone in this community. We see that, we acknowledge it, and we set out to do the best we can. And along the way, people might, test you. Your friends might say, "Ah, man, skip the gym today, just come out and party with us." There's certain things where you'll be tested along the way, and you'll have opportunities to set the boundary and say, "No, I've made this commitment to myself. I'm going to choose to stick with it." And I think the big takeaway from this, honestly, is ultimately it comes down to yourself. It comes down to the commitments you make with yourself, not what other people think. Even if people have the best intentions, even if they want to keep you accountable or they just miss you, whatever, it comes down to, do you feel congruent with your values. And if you don't, then, it can be hard. For me, I grew up as a people pleaser, right? I always wanted to make everyone happy, and it can be really hard to say no, to be disagreeable. But it is so crucial if that means that you are in line with your beliefs and your purpose. Another example is maybe somebody has a really strong opinion and they ask you what you think, and your opinion is opposing to theirs. Well, obviously, you don't have to voice that in a way that is disrespectful or rude, but if you say the opinion and it might upset them, you still have to say it, because you have to be a man of integrity. You have to be somebody who is in line with your values, with your purpose. So that's really the main thing that I wanted to get out here today. This is something that I've struggled with throughout my life, is not intentionally compromising on my values, but trying to make other people happy along the way. All right, I want to do it this way, but okay, yeah, we can do this instead. And this is not to say you shouldn't compromise in life sometimes, but you should never compromise on your deepest values and your deepest purpose as a man. So if you know what your calling is, if you have specific values that you hold close to you and dear to you and you think are what, really is representative of you as a man, then you should never compromise those. That's really the point of the video I wanted to make. The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida is amazing. I've probably on my third read of this right now, and it's crazy valuable, especially for me coming out of a recent relationship. It's been super helpful on reflecting on things that I did well, things that I didn't do well in that relationship, but also just understanding, as a man, what masculinity is. Not in like a lot of people would use the word toxic, which I'm not a big fan of that term, but not in like a way of like, the traditional like macho masculine things, but truly like, what is a man? A man is someone who's uncompromising in his values at the core of it. And yeah, so I'd highly recommend this book. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video. I plan to keep pumping out consistent videos. If you have any questions, I'm going to try to keep elevating my content, keep just bringing massive value to all of you. And I'd love if you engage with me in the comments and just connected with me about what you're reading right now, what you guys are going through, or your goals in life are. So shoot a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.